The desolation of the Chernobyl exclusion zone hung heavy in the air as I, Dmitry, ventured into the heart of the abandoned city of Pripyat. Armed with a Geiger counter and a sense of trepidation, I explored the eerie remnants of a once thriving community frozen in time by the catastrophic nuclear disaster. The specter of Chernobyl had always loomed large in my mind, but nothing could have prepared me for the chilling encounters with the ghosts that lingered in the shadows. As the sun dipped below the decaying skyline, casting long shadows over the remnants of Pripyat, I navigated the desolate streets. The silence was profound, broken only by the distant rustle of leaves and the creaking of metal structures battered by years of neglect. I approached the remains of an apartment building, its windows shattered and its walls marked by the passage of time. It was in the desolation of these crumbling structures that the first ghostly encounter occurred. As I entered a dilapidated apartment, a sudden drop in temperature sent a shiver down my spine. The air seemed charged with an otherworldly energy. A flicker of movement caught my eye, and there, in the dim light, a spectral figure materialized, an apparition of a woman in a tattered dress. Her eyes, hollow and sorrowful, met mine, and an icy breath whispered through the room. The ghostly woman gestured towards a faded photograph on the wall, her translucent fingers pointing to a family frozen in time. It became clear that she was one of the displaced souls who once called Pripyat home. Her ethereal presence conveyed a profound sense of longing, a connection to the life she had lost in the aftermath of the Chernobyl disaster. In a blink, she dissipated, leaving behind an oppressive silence. Undeterred by the paranormal encounter, I continued my exploration. The Geiger counter ticked ominously, a constant reminder of the lingering radiation. The streets, overgrown with nature's reclamation, whispered tales of the lives abruptly interrupted on that fateful day in 1986. As I approached the abandoned amusement park, its rusting Ferris wheel stood as a haunting reminder of a bygone era. The silence was broken by the distant laughter of phantom children, their spectral voices echoing through the deserted park. The apparitions of joyous families, frozen in time, danced beneath the flickering light of a long-forgotten carousel. The ghostly laughter heightened the surreal atmosphere as I made my way towards the iconic Ferris wheel. The phantom children, oblivious to the passage of time, continued their spectral play. A sense of melancholy enveloped me, as if the laughter was a collective echo of the lives that had once thrived in Pripyat. My journey led me to the remnants of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, its ominous silhouette towering against the darkening sky. The Geiger counter registered an increase in radiation, a stark reminder of the invisible danger that lingered. As I explored the abandoned control room, a strange hum filled the air, and the temperature plummeted. The apparitions of engineers and workers clad in radiation suits materialized before me. Their faces bore the etchings of despair, their eyes haunted by the memories of that catastrophic night. They moved in a spectral ballet, their gestures mimicking the routine of a bygone era. It was as if time had frozen for them, trapped in a spectral loop of duty and doom. One of the ghostly figures, an engineer with a clipboard in hand, approached me. Without uttering a word, he pointed towards the decaying control panel. The flickering light seemed to regain a semblance of life under the spectral gaze. The apparition's eyes conveyed a silent plea, a plea for acknowledgement, for remembrance, for the world to recognize the sacrifices made in the aftermath of the disaster. The encounter left me breathless, grappling with the weight of the past that clung to the ruins. The ghostly engineers dissipated into the shadows, leaving behind an eerie stillness. The radiation levels spiked, urging me to retreat from the heart of the nuclear ghost town. As I wandered through the deserted streets of Pripyat, the moon cast an otherworldly glow over the abandoned buildings. The Geiger counter's rhythmic ticking accompanied me like a macabre lullaby. The echoes of the past seemed to intensify, and with each step, I felt the unseen eyes of the spectral inhabitants upon me. Near the riverbank, I witnessed a final ghostly encounter that would stay etched in my memory. A group of displaced souls, their forms barely discernible in the pale moonlight, gathered near the water's edge. Their eyes bore the weariness of a journey that transcended the realms of the living. These spectral figures, clad in the clothing of the 1980s, stared across the river towards the abandoned city. It was as if they yearned to return to a life that had been stolen from them. Their collective gaze lingered on the silhouette of Pripyat, a spectral reflection of a world forever lost. As I stood among the ghosts of Chernobyl, a profound sense of sorrow enveloped me. The radiation levels spiked one last time, as if the very earth mourned the tragedy that had unfolded. The souls of Pripyat seemed to convey a silent message, a plea for remembrance, for understanding, for a world that had learned the devastating consequences of its own hubris. Retreating from the exclusion zone, I carried the weight of those ghostly encounters with me. The Chernobyl disaster had not only left behind a physical scar on the landscape, but also an ethereal imprint of lives interrupted. The ghosts of Chernobyl would forever linger in the shadows, a spectral reminder of the catastrophic events that had unfolded in the heart of the abandoned city.